In the midst of the Me Too hysteria, when everyone was fixating on Aziz Ansari's bad date and Brett Kavanaugh's phantom gang rape trains, researchers at Morgan Stanley had a very different focus. They were concerned, as you might imagine, about the financial ramifications of the modern feminist movement. So they sent an analysis to their corporate clients looking into the economic impact of this new wave of feminism that was overtaking the country. And here was their top-line conclusion. By 2030, Morgan Stanley wrote, more than 45% of working women aged 25 to 44 in the United States will be single. And if that prediction holds, it would be the highest percentage of single working age women in this country's history by a large margin. The economic impacts Morgan Stanley predicted would be significant. Morgan Stanley quoted one researcher as saying, quote, "We find that single women outspend the average household, shifting spending policies toward categories most poised to benefit from the demographic growth in single women with rising incomes. Those categories include apparel, automotive, entertainment, dining. Like most research that consultants charge millions of dollars to produce, none of that is terribly surprising. When women don't get married, they tend to climb the corporate ladder. They're invested more in their jobs, and they earn money that they don't spend on kids, they spend on themselves. But there's one line of the Morgan Stanley report that stands out. It's the part where Morgan Stanley specifically urges its corporate clients to encourage women to pursue this unmarried, materialistic lifestyle because it'll make the corporations a lot of money. Quote, "For corporations and investors that embrace these trends, there are numerous benefits, from more nuanced corporate governance and performance to bottom-line growth." The Morgan Stanley report, and several others like it, put all the big brands on notice that they should take a proactive role in ensuring that more women become career-driven instead of getting married and having kids. And predictably, over the past few years, we've seen various initiatives along those lines. Facebook, Apple, other big tech companies have begun offering to freeze the eggs of female employees, which is not for any medical reason. They're offering it purely so that women don't get pregnant and don't take maternity leave and can spend more time on the clock. Many companies have also started paying for out-of-state abortions, and all of that has been widely reported. What hasn't been covered is the extent to which influencers and celebrities, most of them beholden to these larger corporations, are now openly campaigning all at once for women to remain single or to become single again if they made the mistake of getting married. And you could choose to believe this is all an accident or that it's coordinated. Whatever the case, it's clearly happening. There have never been more famous people telling young women to stop making commitments to men. So, for example, you may have seen this recent video from the actress and model Emily Ratajkowski, and she has around 2.6 million followers on TikTok, where she posts videos telling random couples that their relationships won't last, encouraging women to dress like prostitutes on Halloween, content like that. In her latest video, she extols the benefits of getting divorced by the age of 30 so that women can party and have fun while they're still young and beautiful. Watch.
So it seems that a lot of ladies are getting divorced before they turn 30. And as someone who got married at 26, has been separated for a little over a year, 32, I have to tell you, I don't think there's anything better. If being in your 20s is the trenches, there is nothing better than being in your 30s, still being hot, maybe having a little bit of your own money, figuring out what you want to do with your life, everything, and having tried that married fantasy and realizing that it's maybe not all it's cracked up to be, and then you've got your whole life still ahead of you. So for all of those people who are stressed or feeling stressed about that, about being divorced, like it's good. Congratulations.
Congratulations for failing at something, and not just failing at something, but failing at it so quickly. I mean, you're divorced by 30, which means no matter when you got married, you failed at it very quickly. So congratulations for failing. Congratulations for abandoning your marriage vows, for not staying true to your commitments. Congratulations. It's an achievement, she says. Now, the caption on that video reads, "Personally, I find it chic to be divorced by the age of 30. And it's extremely popular on the platform. More than 130,000 people have liked that video. Now, this video appears to be a message of support for Sophie Turner, who is a person I didn't know existed, but apparently she does. Apparently she's a famous actress who is now getting divorced from one of the Jonas Brothers because she felt trapped by marriage and by motherhood, and she wanted to go party instead. And so that's what she's doing. What Emily and Sophie are doing, getting divorced in a very public fashion for avowedly selfish reasons, follows a pattern recently of famous women advising other women to either stay single and childless or get divorced, tear their families apart, and then act like they're childless even if they have children. Maya Khalifa was another one that we talked about on the show a little while ago. As shocking as it was to hear bad advice from a porn star, that's what we got. Here's how Maya spoke to her 37 million followers about the importance of getting divorced multiple times, if possible. Let's watch that again.
Oh, we're comparing stats. Baby girl doesn't know that I am Tom Brady at this game. Married at 18, divorced at 21. Second marriage, married at 25, divorced at 28. Third engagement, engaged at 29, ended it at 30, but I kept the ring. I'm still keeping Tom Brady on his toes. We should not be afraid to leave these men. We are not stuck with these people. Marriage is not a sanctimonious thing. It is paperwork. It's something, it's a commitment you make to someone. But if you feel like you're not getting anything from that commitment and you're trying, you gotta go. You gotta go. You have to go. I know it's difficult to fill out paperwork and to make appointments and to do all of these things, but this is your life. Do you want to be stuck with someone? Period.
Some more great insight there. Now, there are other examples of this kind of messaging recently. Lots of examples. Chelsea Handler publicly split from her boyfriend after about a year of dating. At the time, Handler made a point to explain that, quote, there was just some behaviors that we couldn't agree on, and it felt to me like I would have to abandon myself, which maybe I would have been okay to do if I were 20 or 25, but I wasn't willing to do that. Abandon yourself, self-sacrifice, in other words. Self-sacrifice is a bad thing, Handler says, and she lives by this motto. We will give her that, encouraging others to do the same as well. She did a whole Daily Show segment a little while ago extolling the virtues of being selfish and childless. Are you ready to discover the incredible benefits of a good night's sleep? It's time to awaken your senses and embrace the importance of restful slumber. Dive into the world of sleep and introduce yourself to an amazing product that could revolutionize your nighttime routine. Beam Dream is a game changer. Their dream powder, a hot cocoa designed specifically for sleep, could transform your nights with flavors like cinnamon cocoa and chocolate peanut butter that make it a treat to sip on before bedtime. Dream contains a powerful all-natural blend of ingredients, including magnesium, L-theanine, I think. Anyway, whatever it is, it's good. Helps you fall asleep, stay asleep, and help you wake up refreshed. Just mix Beam Dream into hot water or milk, stir or froth, and enjoy before bedtime. Your body and mind deserve the gift of restful nights. Try Beam's best-selling Dream Powder. Get up to 40% off for a limited time when you go to shopbeam.com/Walsh and use code Walsh at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/Walsh and use code Walsh for up to 40% off. Everyone knows I love my Helix mattress, but did you know that they just launched their newest, most high-end collection, Helix Elite? Helix has harnessed years of extensive mattress expertise to bring their customers a truly elevated sleep experience. The Helix Elite collection includes 6 different mattress models, each tailored for specific sleep positions and firmness preferences. I've had my Helix for years, and I love it. It's the best mattress I've ever had. If you're nervous about buying a mattress online, you don't have to be. Helix has a sleep quiz that matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress, because why would you buy a mattress made for someone else? Go to helixsleep.com/Walsh, take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and find the perfect mattress for your body and sleep type. Your mattress will come right to the door for free. Plus, Helix has a 10-year warranty, and you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. They'll even pick it up for you if you don't love it, but you will. Their financing options and flexible payment plans make it so that a great night's sleep is never far away. In honor of Labor Day, Helix is offering 25% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for my listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/Walsh and use code HelixPartner25. This is their best offer yet, and it won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Now, at this point, you're probably noticing a theme, which is that none of these women display even a modicum of interest in sacrificing anything to make their relationships, their marriages, in many cases, work out. Instead, they're adopting, without exception, what psychologists call an external locus of control. Everything that happens to their relationship is somebody else's fault. Can't possibly be related to them. I mean, they can't conceivably do anything that might salvage their marriage, so they move on and they focus on themselves. Not to belabor the point, but this is the message that young people are seeing all over the place. To give one more example, there was also the country star Kelsea Ballerini, who talked about leaving her marriage because the glitter wore off, and it would be a disservice to herself to stay in the marriage. I showed this clip a few months ago on the show, but here it is.
Is this person right for me? Like, am I good with this being forever? Am I good with him never doing the dishes ever in my life, for the rest of my life, or whatever those stupid things are? How did you know that it wasn't relationship anxiety or negative intrusive voices in your head, and that it was actually like your heart speaking?
That's a good question. I'm really intuitive and in tune with myself and my gut and my heart. And I think for a while, you're right. It was kind of okay, this is just a new phase of a relationship, because relationships go through seasons, right? And
yes.
It's not always going to be rainbows and butterflies. That's just not it. And I think for a long time, I was oh, this is just the glitter wears off. That's what happens, And then you get into a phase where you wait for it to come back, and then and then sometimes it doesn't. But at the end of the day, it is such a disservice and a dishonoring of yourself if you know something is not right and you stay.
But your life is so loud. You have so much going on all the time. I think when people hear about couples counseling, then they hear about a couple getting divorced, they're like, oh, it didn't work. But oftentimes that is actually couples counseling working. But because you realize that this isn't the relationship for both of you. And I think what's so hard is having to break your own heart and someone else's in the process of saving yourself.
An important thing to keep in mind, if you're wondering again why I'm so skeptical of therapy and counseling, well, you just heard it there. You go to couples counseling, and then if you get divorced, it means that the couples counseling worked because they're counseling you towards divorce. But, if there's not enough glitter, then what are you supposed to do? Just bail. Go party. Whatever you do, don't think about putting in any kind of effort. Hollywood and the media have been pushing this message for a long time. They're doing it with maximum intensity. That's why I started the show yesterday talking about the insane levels of backlash I received for criticizing an influencer who promoted the child-free lifestyle as a path to happiness. It was a relentless barrage of media coverage all over one tweet that I made on the subject. And that's because, as we talked about yesterday, they're very invested in promoting this lifestyle, which means that anyone who criticizes it must be furiously dogpiled and shut down. The point is that there's a large-scale effort underway to convince young people, especially young women, but not just young women, to be as shallow and selfish as possible, even if it means abandoning their marriages and wrecking their families. Lots of wealthy people and powerful forces are invested in pushing this message. In fact, the government is pursuing it as well. The National Bureau of Economic Research crunched the numbers on this last year, and they looked at federal and state taxes along with benefit programs, and they found that, in effect, there's a massive marriage tax in this country. People who decide to get married, especially low-income people, end up sacrificing roughly 2 years of income to the government simply because they got married. The researchers found that, quote, absent the tax, 13.7% more low-income single families, females rather, with children would marry annually, and 7.5% more would be married by age 35. The researchers also found that the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, imposes a substantial marriage tax, quote unquote, because people who get married stand to lose a lot of subsidies under that law. Now, you never hear anyone talk about this, but it's true. The government is punishing people who want to get married, especially low-income people. It should be the opposite, incentivizing marriage, rewarding you for getting married and having families, but that's not what happens in our country today. And that's a legacy of Barack Obama that's never mentioned. And of course, the current administration is continuing what Obama started. Last year, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen testified in a hearing that abortion is good because it's good for the economy, because it means that more women are working for large corporations. Instead of getting married and raising kids, they could just kill the kid and then get back to work, back into the arms of their corporate masters. Here she is talking about that.
Secretary Yellen, if the draft of the court's majority holding in Roe versus Wade is the actual decision, what impact will the loss of abortion access mean economically for women?
Well, I believe that eliminating the right of women to make decisions about when and whether to have children would have very damaging effects on the economy and would set women back decades. Roe v. Wade and access to reproductive health care, including abortion, helped lead to increased labor force participation?
So there it is. Abortion leads to increased labor force participation. Therefore, it's good. Put aside the fact that aborting tens of millions of children certainly shrinks the labor force over time, not to mention, amounts to a holocaust of human beings on a scale previously unknown to mankind. So no matter how it affects the economy, it is evil on its face fundamentally. Still, that's the Treasury Secretary of the United States saying that women should kill their children and pursue a career at some soulless Fortune 500 company because, in her estimation, it will boost the GDP. There's no doubt that some of the videos we began the show with today are just women who are rationalizing their own self-destructive choices, but it's a mistake to dismiss what we're seeing as just the idle narcissism of a few famous ditzy women on TikTok. There are forces that profit immensely by creating a society full of self-centered automatons who seek connection and fulfillment from pop culture and social media and all of that rather than family life. And these forces include Morgan Stanley's clients as well as the federal government. I mean, the most powerful forces in the country, literally. What are the consequences for regular Americans? Well, for women, it's not great. And it used to be that you could say this publicly. It used to be conventional wisdom that it's bad to encourage women to be single. This is a Harvard Business Review analysis from 2002. Quote, at midlife, between a third and a half of all successful career women in the United States do not have children. In fact, 33% of such women in the 41 to 55 age bracket are childless, and that figure rises to 42% in corporate America. These women have not chosen to remain childless. The vast majority, in fact, yearn for children. Indeed, some have gone to extraordinary lengths to bring a baby into their lives. They subject themselves to complex medical procedures, shell out tens of thousands of dollars, and derail their careers, mostly to no avail, because these efforts come too late. In the words of one senior manager, the typical high-achieving woman childless at midlife has not made a choice, but a creeping non-choice. Now, 2 decades later, that creeping non-choice has been rebranded as a positive. You can never get any article remotely like that one published in the Harvard Business Review today. As disastrous as this transformation has been for women's happiness and fulfillment, it's probably even worse for men. As we've discussed on the show, men are now using more drugs, killing themselves more than they ever have in recorded history. And these are rates also that far exceed what we find with women. And we shouldn't be surprised by that. When all of society reorients to promote girl bosses and to demean the institution of marriage, yes, women make more money in the short term. Men also have fewer opportunities to start families and fewer opportunities to make a living. Now, in polite company, you're not supposed to say any of this. You're not supposed to think about the ramifications of the social engineering that's underway in this country. But whether it's acceptable to point it out or not, none of this is an accident. From every angle, women are being told that the key to happiness is being narcissistic, selfish, abandoning marriage, abandoning their families. At the same time, men are being told that simply by virtue of their gender, they're members of a patriarchy that needs to be destroyed. That is as destructive a combination as there possibly could be. In both cases, for men and women, the power centers are saying essentially, you're just a passive observer. Women are being told that if their marriage isn't appealing, then they don't have to do anything about it. They should just leave. Men are being told that no matter what they do, they're sexist bigots. This passive approach, this total denial of personal responsibility is unsustainable. As we're seeing again and again, no marriage can survive it. And that's now abundantly clear. And what we'll soon find out if this continues is that no civilization can survive it either. Thanks for checking out this video. If you'd like to listen to my full podcast on the go, you can check out The Matt Walsh Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.